Hello, 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 hello. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug, and I am coming on to tell you about what I have coming on, but also I'm excited about today's conversation because today's conversation is about government contracting. So if you are an entrepreneur or if you have family, friends, foes who are entrepreneurs and you want them to know about government contracting, here's your opportunity to share this video so they can learn about how to make more money than they ever could imagine getting government contracts. I Before I do that, I want to tell you about two things. So the first thing is that on February the 9th at 7:30 p.m., I am hosting a government contract prep workshop. It is a webinar designed to help businesses get ready to get government contracting. And so, if that's something that interests you, then I'm going to ask you to come join me, right? So, I have the link. I was looking to see if I had put the link. I thought I did, but you know how that is. This mine is an etch a sketch. My students laugh at me because I tell them when I go to sleep and wake up again, everything I did the day before is wiped out, just like an etch a sketch. Those of you who know what that is, this brain what I'm using is just like an etch a sketch. But in any case, I want to make sure that I drop the link in the comments. So if you need additional support in getting government contracts for your business, be it for profit or nonprofit, I'm doing a prep. And if there are any nonprofits in the room at the event, then of course I'm going to address what their needs are. But this is basically for profits to help you to get set up so that you can get government contracting at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. There are three different levels of government that you need to be approved for. So I'm going to help you get that. And if I didn't put it in the description wherever you're watching this, I'm putting it in the comments now. So that way you'll have it. So whether you're watching it on LinkedIn or you're watching it um, on YouTube, or even if you're watching it on Facebook, I just put the link in the comments for that training if you would like to have it after you've watched this. Okay. So let's talk about, so that's one thing I'm doing. If you are a business and you're trying to get, well, you want your 2025 to be, hello, Atlanta. Hey there, Jonathan. If you want your 2025 to be bigger and better than it's been in previous years, then I am working one-on-one with various businesses who want to make sure that they're compliant, especially if you're an LLC. If you're an LLC, going through this government contracting thing is going to help you to get your LLC compliant. Because I know that there are a lot of people that have LLCs, but I'm not sure they're all compliant. Because when I'm going to try to help them to get government contracts, they're like, Linda, what minutes? What are minutes? What are minutes? And I'm like, you're an LLC. You should be having an annual meeting at least. And there should be minutes from that meeting. So we go through that and get them where they need to be on that. But there are other things that you should have as an LLC to make sure you're compliant. So if you are an LLC specifically, if you're an LLC and you don't know whether your LLC is compliant, you're going to want to do that because, we just saw the BOI, right? The BOI is coming, whether it happens next month or next year. It's going to happen. And so you being compliant is going to have a lot to do with them if they start to audit LLCs, because there's a lot of ghost LLCs out there and they're making it bad for everybody. And so they are looking to make sure that your LLC is compliant. So you want to make sure that your paperwork's right. I'm helping businesses to get that paperwork together. So that's one of the things I'm doing. The other thing I'm doing is, again, on February the 8th, if you want to join me, I've already put the link in the chat, and it looks like our guest has just jumped on board. So I was doing all my my monologue. I was doing my monologue till she got here, but she's here now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Christine Edwards. Come on in, Christine. Hey, honey.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So, 2 days in a row.
I know, right? You are an awesome host. You are an awesome host because you made me feel so welcome. I felt so at home.
Oh, but
That
thank
was
you. We were
good.
so glad. My little class, you done blew their mind. They were the whole class. They were like, Miss Linda.
Yeah.
You done blew their mind. And just like you're going to blow the minds of these business owners who are looking to get into government contracting. Just like you're getting ready, you're going to do it all over again right here. You're
Listen,
going
I
to help
hope
these
so.
business. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because I have invited anybody and everybody who are interested in learning more about government contracting and making more money than they could ever imagine. Like there's so much money out there to be had if we're compliant. That's the key word,
Mhm.
right? And so tell them, who is Christine Edwards? Give us your backstory, sugar.
Yes. So I'm Christine Edwards, and I am a government contracts coach. But before I became a government contracts coach, I became a small business owner, an entrepreneur, and I started my business in 2018. I won a grant from the Knight Foundation. I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my business is it's all about community engagement and connecting the community to local government resources, any kind of resources that they need from their government or from their city. That's what I do. So we do community engagement and outreach services like surveys, focus groups. We can help coordinate town halls and help the government understand who their people are and who they need to talk to, and just make it a little bit more equitable. So that's what I do. My business is called Civility Localized. And through my government contracts business, I learned what it takes to teach other small businesses to learn how to earn these contracts as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I love that because I have been investigating, like I've been helping, I dedicated the entire year last year to helping businesses get certified, right? In
Mhm.
their city, state, federal, right? That's all I did
Mhm.
last year. That was my primary focus. But then this year, okay, now you're certified. How do you use it? Because a
Right.
lot of people are certified and never use them. And it has a lot of red tape purposely,
Yep.
you know how things are. It has a lot of hoops to jump. But once you have jumped all those hoops,
Yeah.
it is so worth all the effort.
It's like once you get your ducks in a row, you're
Yeah,
ready to go. You're good to go.
absolutely.
Um, I think you said something about compliance earlier, and I
Mhm.
think that's definitely true. I think that especially when you talk about government contracts, there's a lot of rules that you have to follow. But I will say there are ways to kind of get into it using relationships, right?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
relationships
Exactly.
are key.
That
So,
it is totally relationship based. I say that every day. It's totally
mhm.
relationship based. Like it's important who you know, but it's more important who knows you.
Mhm. Absolutely. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So definitely, we agree because that's the game is being played. It's all about relationships and strong relationships and doing what you say you're gonna do and being,
Mhm.
being exactly who you say you are, if not better, but
Mhm.
definitely never worse. So yeah. So talk about the whole journey, like in your line of work with small businesses. Do you see what is the most continuous thing you see that small businesses don't already have in place? For me, it was minutes. What is
Mm.
it for you?
Do you mean like meeting minutes, like notes?
Yeah, when they're trying to get compliant, when they're going after the certifications, what do
Mm.
you see most times businesses don't have?
Um, a lot of times people will get hung up on the fact that they don't have past performance.
Oh,
And past performance is everything, because government contracts is a trust business. It's about trust and reputation.
yeah.
So you have to be able to show your past performance. And so a lot of the business owners that I coach and that I talk to, they think that they don't have any examples of past performance. And
Mm,
what you really have to dig deep. Now, if you're just starting out, you might not have a ton of experience under your belt, but you can still use your past performance from maybe like a volunteer position that you had, or something that you did that was pro bono, or something that you did when you were beta testing out your idea. You know, if you did a speaking engagement, a lot of times people don't realize that a speaking engagement is a training workshop.
it is. It is.
You know, so I really help people to dig deep and find those past performances so that they can put it in their capability statement, and they can say, this is something that I've done that shows that I can do this work. So, when you're first starting out, you get hung up on, well, I just want to get my foot in the door. I just want to get my first contract. But sometimes you have to think about, what are the things that are going to get you there?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Positioning, right?
Positioning. Yeah. So, I mean, people get hung up on the past performance, and I always advocate for people or tell people to get reviews and get testimonials,
Mm,
even if it's from, like, you had a discovery call,
yeah.
or you had one meeting with somebody or a networking event. If you did anything where you were showcasing who you are, then I think that counts as past performance. And then, of course, just getting out there, and then asking people for opportunities to say, hey, I need to get something under my belt so that I can showcase that I'm doing this work. So yeah, that's a big one. Trying to think of another one. Sometimes people get the like needing to have a physical mailing address.
Oh, that's another good one. That's
Yeah,
another good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the government is going to ask to verify an address. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this, and I'm sure you're familiar. You can have a PO box, right? You can have a PO box that has like a physical location, and you can use the location of that mailbox for your business location. Just
Right.
make sure it's consistent. Or you can actually name your home. If you work from home, you can name that as your business location, and a lot of people don't realize that is a valid thing that you can do.
Absolutely. And the thing about that is, when you use your home address, it becomes public. It becomes a part of
Mhm.
public record. So that means anyone wanting to get to you, your business
Yeah.
will come. And the reason I said that is because I've used my address, and I've had a person saying, I was coming to see if you all are hiring. Yes,
Coming to your
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I agree. You definitely want to be careful about that, because
Yeah.
it is publicly listed, just in wherever you have your business listed at. The government, sometimes they'll have like a database of vendors, wherever your business is registered at. So that's why sometimes it's good to get a PO box, or if you have
Yeah.
a space that you're leasing, or an office space, you want to use that as your physical address. So sometimes people they'll get hung up on that, or they'll get hung up on the past performance, but you really do have to have this stuff figured out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you
Exactly.
have
And there are,
to, yeah.
there are businesses that will allow you to have a mailbox on site. So you can rent a mailbox from any location that has a mailbox secured for you. So
Mm,
companies are doing that too, because they realize that you do need a physical address, and you don't want to have it coming to your home,
exactly.
and they don't accept virtual addresses.
No, it has to
Like,
be
you
a
cannot use a Google
physical.
address or all those. You can't do
Mm-mm.
those. It has to be a physical address.
You're right. A physical address with a mailbox. And what I use is our co-working space. So
Yeah,
But
exactly.
there are various levels of membership that you can have at a co-working space. And a lot of times, a lot of the members literally just use the address to get mail sent there for their
Exactly.
business. And also
Exactly.
it helps because I use a Google business listing. to help us with our marketing and to help, people to know how to reach us. And that address, to our co-working space is what I use on Google as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah. And so that is, you're right. That is one of the things, because, a lot of them have those virtual addresses, and that doesn't play well in the government contracting arena. What else have you seen? What I've seen is when people are going into the contracting, the gathering of the documents, right? Because they ask you very specifically for your taxes.
Sometimes they will. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to look at documents. So it depends on what we're talking about. Are we talking about certifications? Because sometimes there are certain government certifications that do ask for your taxes. And some of those certifications, they just want to verify that your personal net worth is not above a certain amount. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, in order to qualify for these certifications, your personal net worth has to be, I think it's like 1/4 of the SBA designation, which is $14 million.
Right.
So your business is a small business until you reach $14 million annually.
Exactly.
So I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet either. I'm waiting to get there.
Right. So, so a lot of our businesses are firmly in that small business category.
Absolutely.
And the only reason that they ask for your taxes is because they want to make sure that you meet that threshold and you're not a secret millionaire.
Yeah.
So that they can, so that you can be eligible. So that's the first instance when they are going to ask about your taxes, is if they need to verify your net worth. Now, on the other side of things, when you are pursuing a government contract and let's say you found an RFP, request for proposal, you find a bid that it looks so good. You're like, oh my gosh, I can totally do this. This looks right up my alley. And so you're going through the bid and you're looking at all the required paperwork and you're like, oh my gosh, they're asking for so much information. Sometimes in the RFP, they will also ask for financial documents.
Absolutely.
And they'll say, hey, send us your latest profit and loss statement, or send us what is it called? An audited balance sheet.
Well, they'll ask for your cash flow statement. I've had them have my clients to give them a personal debt schedule. Like, they ask for the documents, right? And so, and they really want, what they're looking for is to make sure you're able to manage money, because in some cases they send you the entire contract money up front.
I would like to get one of those.
And they want to make sure you can manage it.
I would like to get one of those. I've seen that. I've never gotten a whole contract up front before, but on one of my larger contracts, they actually asked to see my financials because it is against their policy to be more than 45% of my income. So they wanted to make sure that the contract amount was not like a monopoly based on my entire income.
Yeah.
And so I have a whole portfolio of clients. And so because basically, if you get a contract that's your whole income, you are an employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you're making money another way other than just doing 100% government contract. And if you're doing government contracts, and that's a whole little thing, right? That's a whole separate arrangement. But what they want to do, the federal government looks to support small businesses. Like, they're looking for small businesses for these services and these products. And so if you're selling products and services and you're scoundering every month trying to find another customer, when you get tired of doing that, you really should consider going into government contracting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I always advocate for, is having a good mix.
Yeah.
A good mix of customers, because you don't want to just have one type of customer or rely on one client for all of your work, especially when it comes to the government, because even though government contracts is a little bit more consistent and stable, if something happens, where they have to cut the contract short, or the funding gets taken away,
Absolutely.
or the grant funding is over and we can't give you this contract, then you're going to want to have something to fall back on. You're not going to want to be just relying on that one government client.
And that's in anything, because people were in an uproar last night because of TikTok, right? All of their revenue, that those people who have all their eggs in that one basket.
Yeah.
Like when they turned the switch off, people were panicking because that's their only source of income. Yeah. And you hear people make more on TikTok in a few weeks than people make the whole year.
Whew.
Yeah. It's that it was that crucial. It was that crucial. So if you never want to put all of your eggs in one basket. That's exactly what I learned when I was coming from being employed, in corporate, to being an entrepreneur. The reason I became an entrepreneur, because all my eggs were in that basket of that job. And when they laid me off, they say lay off, but it's a firing. When they let me go, I did get a severance check, but still, when they let you go, then what are you going to do for income going forward? The severance check can only go so far. So I learned then, never again to put all my eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
You need diverse. You need several different revenue streams to keep your business afloat.
I will say one thing, because that is so real. Like, don't rely on just one revenue stream, and make sure you have revenue streams that have different sales cycles.
Yeah.
So that you can get money quicker if you need to, so that if there's a way to, earn a client and sell a service quicker, then you also have these longer term sales cycles. Like government contracts are much longer term.
Talk about that.
Okay. So with the government contracts, sometimes your check or your payment is net 30 or net 60 or even net 90 sometimes.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have the cash flow in place, because let's say you finished up a project in December. And so now you put in your invoice at the end of December for the work that was completed in December. And you're like, all right, let's get paid. And then they say, oh, well, your contract says net 30. So we don't have to pay you until 30 days after your invoice, within that 30-day mark. So make sure that you have the cash flow to get you to the end of January.
Exactly.
Okay, you finish the work on December 31st, but you're probably not going to get paid until late January for that work. And so with government contracts, a lot of times they extend it out because of their invoicing processes. So make sure that you either have the cash flow, where you have the money to pay your overhead, pay your bills, pay yourself.
Your employees. Pay them first.
Pay them first, yes. Because listen, they can go on TikTok and probably make some money. But make sure that you have that cash flow. And then if you find yourself in a bind, maybe it's time to start diversifying and see if you can sell a service or sell a product that has a shorter sales cycle.
Yeah. And that's what I was teaching yesterday's class about, that cash cycle. Like if you have clients who are paying you every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days, but then you have bills that come in that are every 30 days, you're going to run into some sticky situations. So you want to make sure you have a reserve or a way of keeping that cash flow in-house as long as you can, so you can meet those needs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. That's very important, but it's worth it, right? I mean, we talk about, the length. If there are downsides to government contracting, it is that length to get paid. However, once you get paid, the amount you get paid is enough to bring everything right.
Oh yeah. As long as you don't have a crazy overhead. I think the amounts of the contracts, it just depends on what you do. With government contracts, it could either be you're selling goods, whether it's like construction goods or physical products, retail products, or you could be doing professional services like media, photography, marketing, administrative services, project management. Or you might be doing a social service like managing a program.
Exactly.
So It really just depends. Sometimes they pay quicker, and sometimes the cost of the service is higher. Sometimes the cost of the service is lower. I think that's why it's important to get plugged into your local government. Go to your city council meeting and see what that threshold is.
Yeah. Yeah, ask
Because
questions. I always suggest that my business owners go and have a conversation with your elected official. Whether you voted for them or not, that right there is unimportant. What's important is they have sworn an oath to represent all the citizens, those that voted for them and those that didn't. Like, that's
Mhm.
an oath. It's not like, okay, I didn't vote for you, so I can't help you. I mean, you can't help me. It's not that. This is not that. If they are your representative, your alderman, your councilman in your region, if they're your senators, if they're the people, all the way up to Congress, all the elected officials are in play because they have taken a sworn oath to serve you.
Mhm.
And so they work for you. And so you should have a conversation, get to know them, let them
Mhm.
know about your business and what you do, and help them to walk you through. Okay, is this something that the government can use? They may have some insight that you can't get anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, so I always say, talk to your banker, right? The people holding your money, whoever's holding your
Oh
money,
yeah.
because that is the CEOs that I work with, telling them, go have a conversation with the branch manager. And if you're at the main branch, go have a conversation with the president. Like, they're holding your money, have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with them. They may see something that you're not aware of. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about relationships.
Oh, 100%. And then they might be able to tell you, you might be looking for one thing, and then they'll say, "Oh, well, actually, this is what you really need." And you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't called and asked or met with them and talked to them about what you think that you need, especially when we get into these funding conversations. I had a conversation with a banker, and I said, I'm having some cash flow issues. I think I need a bridge loan to help me, get the cash flow that I need, because all of my accounts receivables are 90 days away. And it's like, oh my God. So, but I go and sit down, and they're like, well, we don't think you need a loan. We actually think you could do really well with the line of credit.
That part right there is a game changer, because I've helped businesses get those lines of credit, and those have been game changers. Right? They
Mhm.
don't need they just need the money when they need the money.
Right, right.
And so
Exactly.
they don't need an upfront loan. So
Hmm.
yeah, but they wouldn't know that if they didn't go in and have a
Hmm.
conversation with a banker.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Yeah.
it might not be your business banker. They might even say, well, your numbers look.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Oh, it's
Master button. Sorry.
okay.
The numbers look good, but
Oh yeah, no, I was saying the numbers look good. They'll tell you that the numbers look good, and they'll say, "Well, we can't do anything for you here, but I know somebody else at this other bank, and they work with a lot of companies like yours." So you just never know until you sit down and really talk to people. And like the first thing we said when we got on here, it's all about relationships.
it is all about relationship. It is relationships, and garnering those relationships that are a win-win, right? Because it
Mhm.
looks good for them to be serving in their communities. I try to tell my students about the Community Reinvestment Act that
Mhm.
puts money back into the communities. Like, hopefully all business, all
Mhm.
for-profit businesses have a
Mhm.
social arm. They're doing something to the community, helping the community where they're living. And so going to the bank and getting with a nonprofit, and then
Mhm.
going to the bank and applying for those community reinvestments to do something good in
Mhm.
their own communities is always a great idea,
Absolutely.
because we want to not just take, we want to give too and contribute to our communities.
I mean, yeah, and then today, tomorrow we're going to be recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. uh, federal holiday. So
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. We need to be giving back to the community, thinking about how we can serve
Absolutely.
others.
Yes, absolutely. I am definitely on board with that. Absolutely. We need to do that. That's a day of service, not a day off, is what we say here in Chattanooga. And so we have community groups that get together. They go and pick up trash. They go and greet people. They go spend time with elders. They go do something to help others, to
Yeah.
feel their presence, that we are all one big community.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
businesses should be a part of that, regardless of what you sell or what you do. So I'm an advocate for that. So getting back to government contracting, when so in grants you have a 10-to-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
You apply 10 times in hopes of getting one. Like
Mm-hmm.
my $300 million grant writer, who was my mentor, God rest him, Max Church, told me, said, Linda, tell them it's 10-to-1. So a lot of people, even in grant funding, the same thing you use to get ready for government contracting also
Mm-hmm.
applies when you're going after grants. And
Okay.
so, yeah, same thing. If you get straight for that one, you can also do this one. So because the government grants require the same thing that they do for the contracts. So when you're doing that, though, a lot of times people apply for one, or they apply for one contract and they don't get it. They apply for
Mm-hmm.
one grant and they don't get it. They get discouraged. And
Yes.
knowing that the ratio is 10-to-1, like I've listened to several business owners say, well, I applied the first time out. And I'm like, okay, good. And then others are like, okay, it took me a while, but I finally got it.
There you
But
go.
what I saw is the commonality sometimes is for certain grants, there's like a big pool of people applying. And then for other grants, there's no one applying.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. So it's always good to just go for it because you don't know who like is in that pool. But also you cast more with a wide net. I mean, excuse me,
Yes,
you can win more when you cast a wide net and
yes,
you
yes,
increase your chances to win.
absolutely.
And I like that idea of using that grant strategy for government contracts and to kind of bundle them. So
Yeah,
if you see an RFP that makes sense for you and you see two, maybe you see two that are similar, maybe they're in different locations, but the scope of services is like really similar. And if you're writing a proposal, you might as well write a proposal for both. So
exactly.
at the end of 2024, we just kind of snuck in 3 proposals that we got in right at the end of the year. They were all due like that 3rd week of December. And I was
Mm.
able to get 3 proposals in, and I've already heard back from 2 of them and got interviews for 2 of them, 2 out of 3.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. I love that.
So
Congratulations.
imagine, thank you. Imagine if I only did 1, it might be the one that I didn't get a call back on yet, you know?
Exactly.
So I'm still waiting to hear back from the other one. I need to follow up about it.
But two
But
out of three is great.
yeah, for the interview. So we'll
Absolutely.
see. We'll see. But the more that you play, the more you are gonna win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't win in a game where you don't play.
Yes.
So, I love it. So, coming from this, what one thing would you like anyone that's looking at this interview to take away from it?
Hmm. What's the one thing? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That plays well in this arena. That
Stay
plays, yeah,
ready. And I
yeah,
think, especially like with COVID, a lot of the people that were able to take advantage of the programs were already ready
yeah,
to take advantage of those programs.
exactly.
So, yeah, I just, for the folks that are looking at doing government contracts, just get to a place where if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready too much. But also, don't feel like you have to stay in your lane. Explore a little bit, do some research on your own, and see what feels right for you.
And it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not that. It takes time and patience. Would
Mm-hmm.
you agree?
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. It definitely takes a lot of time and patience. Like I said, with the net 30, net 60 thing in terms of payment. And that's why, again, it's good to have a couple of different options. Like if you go after the 3 proposals instead of just one, because that one deal might take several months to actually land. So make
Exactly.
sure you have a couple of things going on at once.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you are free to reach out to Christine Edwards. Her contact information is wherever you're watching this video. And again, if you would like to come to my training on February the 8th, you are invited. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. there will not be a replay. I am
Mm,
only working with people who are ready to work, to get the work done. Because I mean, this whole results is my keyword this year. Is
okay.
I want people to have results, and so you have to do the work. But
All
that's what we're
right.
doing. So please reach out to us if you have need for contract support. Here you go. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug, and I just plugged you in to government contracting with Christine Edwards. Join us here every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we have business conversations with business people for business people on the Business Plugs Mixer. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next Sunday.
All right.